let's welcome Kathy Holly and Spotlight.
Hi, everybody. It's great to be here with Spotlight tonight. I have two fantastic guests. I have Michelle Jacques, yes, and it's wonderful to see you, Michelle.
Thank you.
And then later on, I'll get to Matheus Coura, who is a countertenor. Fabulous. Wait, lots in store tonight. And Michelle, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
You originally are from New Orleans?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
When did you get into music?
Oh, goodness. I grew up in New Orleans. There was music all around me 24/7. We lived in an area where there was bars and nightclubs and juke joints, which is one of the names of my groups.
I love that.
Then we came to California because of the Great Migration. My mother couldn't afford to buy a home in Louisiana, or not only afford, but because she's an African American, it was difficult. Whereas when we came here, my mother's bought 3-4 homes thus far.
That's fantastic.
So, yeah.
But you were raised where?
Right in Oakland, California.
And this is where your music began,
Yeah,
your career?
absolutely.
I mean, it's amazing what you've done. You're
Thank
an
you.
educator, you're a vocalist, you're on the boards of different organizations, you have a band, you have a group. Two groups. Tell us the name of the groups you have.
I have Shell's Juke Joint, which is my a cappella quintet, and I have Shell and Friends, which is my New Orleans big band.
Now, on your website, can people go to your website
Yes.
and find out where they can see you?
Yes, they can. Yes, they
Because
can.
you do perform live.
Yes, we do.
Yes, I
Yes,
know.
we do.
I met you at one of Boris Goldman's salons.
That's right. That's right.
And that was just absolutely great. And then you're going to be performing tomorrow night at an Italian restaurant where I sing. But in the meantime, I know that we have to share this with the audience. You were part of a project called the Daughters of the Delta.
Yes.
What is that about?
Well, several years ago, I applied for a grant for a project I was doing called Voyage Creole, the study of the Creole people. And when I was doing that in my research, I couldn't find any women.
Wow.
I mean, we had Mahalia, we had Irma Thomas, people like that. But when I wanted to know about all the other women, so I really delved into it. I got in contact with, in fact, it was Andrew Wood of the San Francisco International Arts Festival. And he asked me, why don't we do this project? So I started really researching, and I found people like, we had like Irma Thomas naturally, and we had Mahalia, but we also had Lil Harding Armstrong, who was the second wife of Louis Armstrong, who was a prolific writer,
Oh, really?
piano player, jazz piano player, had her own big bands, and she also worked with Louis.
And were they were from New
New
Orleans?
Orleans, yeah.
So you brought them in for this project?
Oh,
For
no, they're dead. I couldn't.
I'm sorry. But but you were all about telling people, educating
That's what this
them.
is about, yeah.
Yes.
Through our song.
And bringing that through your songs.
Right.
Which,
So I combined both of my groups to do Daughters of the Delta.
well, that's what we want to watch. All right. Because
Yes.
we have a clip
Uh-oh.
of the performance. I know, but it's fast. And you were part of the San Francisco International Arts
Yes,
Jazz Festival. All right. Let's show the audience what you were doing. You were singing A Good Man Is Hard to Find.
Yes, they are.
They are. Right. Now they have to see this at home.
Okay.
All right. We're ready.
And just when you think he's won your best pal, you look around and find him loving another gal. You rave, yes, you crave to see that man laying in his grave. So if your man is nice, take my advice and love him in the morning, love him every night, give him plenty loving because he treats you right. 'Cause a good man
All right. This is so interesting. I heard, now, am I right in thinking you were singing in the language of Creole?
It's called Coura Bini.
Say it again.
Couri, Kouri, Bini, Bini.
So there's a little mixture of French.
France, and a little bit of Spanish, a little bit of English. It's all just a big mix. It's a Creole.
Right, which
even
is
in the language.
which I know, it's so great to hear this because people need to know about this music and the history. And you taught music. Yes. Tell us a little about your education, your educational part of your career.
Okay. For years, I taught with the Oakland Youth Chorus, which is K through 5th, which was wonderful. And one day I said, I'm tired of teaching. And so I quit teaching there. And as you know, I'm on the board of the the Recording Academy. And one of the women who's one of the head teachers at the Oakland School for the Arts, we were talking, and I told her about OSA and all that other stuff. And she said, Michelle, we have an opening for a teacher. And I was like, no, I don't want to teach you anymore. She said, please, tonight when you go home, immediately put in your application, which I did. 3 days later, they interviewed me. 5 days later, I was a teacher with Oakland School for the Arts.
That is for School for the Arts.
Zendaya.
I don't know that name.
My goodness.
No, I don't. I live in San Francisco.
No, she is a movie star.
Oh, a movie? Oh, I don't know her.
Yeah, because Oakland School for the Arts has drama, ballet, music, painting.
All of that.
All of that. It's an arts school.
Of course, and that is so
like
great.
Soda.
Right, and I live very close to Soda because I taught here in Pacifica.
Oh, okay.
And of course, I have a background in drama, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh.
I think when you're in the performing arts, you use all that.
You absolutely do.
And that's part of it too. But you've had time to educate and to bring a lot of the arts. Wait, I read something else in your resume. You didn't only teach in Oakland, but you also work at a university?
Yeah, I teach teachers how to utilize music to teach their curriculum.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah,
I also work with the San Francisco Symphony Adventures in Music program for over 20 years.
That's such a wonderful program. All that you're doing.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody out there, without people like Michelle bringing the arts to everybody, youth, because then they'll understand what jazz is.
Exactly.
There's something else other than other genres of music that they're listening to right now, or video games.
Right.
There is an alternative. You could do something else, right? All right. Now we have to talk a little bit about what you're doing right now.
Right now. I found
Bring us up to
myself
the present.
doing a lot of jazz lately. I started out at Savannah Jazz. Being from New Orleans, jazz, okay?
And Savannah's no longer.
Right, and I'm the choir director at Plymouth Church of Jazz and Justice.
We know some of the same musicians.
I know, I love that place. And so I started getting calls. And Boris, out of the blue, called me and said, I want you to come down to Lion and Swan. We missed each other every time, to Lion and Swan, and perform.
Now we have to tell the studio the audience out there, that there was a wonderful restaurant. It still exists. Unfortunately, it's going to be closing. And by the time this airs, it will have closed. Right. But it was called the Lion and Swan, and it used to be the Purple Onion in San Francisco. And someone redid it, and it's gorgeous. And I saw it, that's where I've been seeing some wonderful music.
And it used to be Jelly Roll Morton's.
That's right. It went through a history of many different different kind of an events, restaurant and everything else. But I remember when folk music was really popular, I remember going, to the Purple Onion. It was, brick and just a very casual place. But anyway, that was wonderful. You started getting into gigs.
Yeah.
And as you know, you'll be singing tomorrow night with me at a wonderful place, Vico Cavone in San Francisco. And now we have to also talk about something else you did. You were part of the Oakland Musicians Houston benefit for Hurricane Harvey.
Yes.
And that's a couple of years ago.
Yeah, just a couple.
but just a couple. We hope there aren't that many hurricanes like that again, but there always are. Let's listen to a cut from what you performed at that event, and it's Nature Boy. Mm-hmm. And oh, what a version it is, Michelle.
Thank you.
There was a woman, a very strange, enchanted boy, and though he wandered very far, over land and sea, a little shy, he was satisfied, very wise was he. And then one magic day, he passed my way, and though he spoke up in anything, fools and kings, this he said to me, the greatest thing you'll ever learn is to love, be loved in return.
What a fabulous band.
Thank you.
I love them. And, you know, there's so many musicians we have in the Bay Area.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And that was our first time even running that song. And they took off on a trot like a horse. I'm like,
yes.
Oh, wait, okay.
I want to hear more.
I have to, switch up on a dime.
I can't help it. I want it to go on and on. Mm-hmm. It's just wonderful. So definitely, if people want to see you live, mm-hmm. you have.
Well, this Sunday I will be singing jazz at Jeffrey's Inner Circle in Oakland.
And what is that?
That is a wonderful jazz club and really good food. And every Sunday they have different artists, and they have open mic.
Great.
For people who want to come and sing.
Great. And where is it?
It's right on, is it Harrison and 14th?
Harrison. Oh, I know that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that area. It's called Jeffrey's
Inner Circle.
Inner Circle. Mm-hmm. And you can order food.
Oh, God.
Or, what? Yeah. Great.
Yeah, it's
Wish I could
food.
come.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have when I come back from Mexico. I'm going to be taking a vacation,
all right.
So it'll be Mexican food then, and then I'll come back. So, what kind of food?
Soul food, honey.
I never get the opportunity to have soul food.
You will blow up when you go there.
Oh, I love soul food. Yeah. Now, one more thing.
Okay.
When did you really start professionally singing? And when did you take lessons when you came to the Bay Area? What happened? How did you get into it?
Professionally, I was working with a friend of mine who was with Sweet Honey in the Rock. And she started a group called Street Sounds. And that's when I professionally started. And I was in my 30s, and we toured all over the world. We did the Montreux, the Girton, the Bern Jazz Festival, wow. Lincoln Center. We were all over the world and all over the U.S.
Do you have a great story about touring?
Oh, my goodness.
You said all over the world.
All over the world. The most wonderful thing was standing on the stage and looking out and seeing people from just fill up a big festival. It was amazing.
That's great.
And there were the Alps right in front of us.
Well, we have much more we could talk about. And I just encourage everybody out there to take a look at your website and come and see you live.
Please
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you so much.
Michelle Jacques, everybody. Thank you. I have the wonderful countertenor, Matheus Coura. But you have a middle name.
Luduwig.
And where did that come from?
So, on my mom's side, we are Swiss. And when we moved, when my great-grandparents moved to Brazil, they brought their name, but there was a mistake on my birth certificate where they added an extra U. So it's actually Luduwig.
Well, it's great in print. I was looking at it and I said, oh, Luduwig. And it sounded German. So I thought, well, wait a minute. But all right, let's get to you. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Vila Velha, Brazil, in the state of Espírito Santo. And when I was 3 years old, my parents immigrated to Long Island, New York.
What a switch.
Yeah. So it was very, very cold winters. And it was a fun time.
When did you start to sing?
Well, my parents are both worship leaders growing up in church. And so I started singing really young. First started playing trumpet, actually.
How old were
When
you?
I was in third grade, so when I was 8 years old.
Wonderful background. And then when did you start, singing or thinking this is what you wanted to do?
So when I moved to Florida when I was 14 years old, the band program in the Florida school that I was in wasn't as good as the chorus program. So I just hopped on over to the chorus classroom and started singing and started studying with this voice teacher who gave, well, first my brother started studying. My brother's also a countertenor, by the way.
And I heard both of you at one of the salons that Boris Goldman has in San Francisco. For those who don't know what a salon is, it's wonderful. It's an event, and there's music and etc. And that's right, you did harmony.
It's true.
And your brother is also a countertenor.
That was such a special performance because it was our first time performing together in 10 years. So he went off to pursue his singing career, and me too. We just ended up on opposite coasts.
And wait, so where is he?
He's over in Boston.
In Boston. And tell me, will you perform again with him, do you think?
Absolutely.
In the near future. I thought you two were brilliant.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. When did you discover that you had this wonderful talent? Would people say, because your range is fabulous.
So back in the day, I used to just, sing as high as I could just for the fun of it. And when I went to undergrad, I studied as a tenor. And I fell in love with Baroque music and sang a lot of those, the solos in Messiah and other Handel operas and such. And when I was about to go to grad school, I got lost in my.
Well, you kind of.
I'm back. Okay, so I was doing a summer program in New York where I was doing a tenor role, and I met this teacher who just heard me laugh. I was like, "Woo!" Something like that, and she was like, "You're a countertenor. I won't teach you unless you do that." And I was like, "You're right." And I had already heard it. I had already heard it from many people, and my soprano roommates would struggle with the high A flats and O mio babino caro, and I was like, "Just do it like this."
Well, and I heard you sing it at the Swan, at the Lion and Swan, and you were terrific. And I know the costume you're wearing is going to give away to the audience out there that definitely you're going to be singing live here in the studio pretty soon. But before that, I want to give them an idea of what performances you've done with this wonderful voice you have. So the first clip we're going to see is you singing, I believe, I hope, Parto Matu Ben Mio.
That's right.
And quickly
from
just
Mozart's
translate it.
Clemenza di Tito means, so the character Sesto is so in love with Vitellia, who is actually in love with Tito, who killed her father. And she's so beautiful, right? She's so beautiful, and I'm so in love with her. But so she asked me to kill Tito, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go and do that now.
So this is what we're gonna hear. Okay, let's hear it.
Porto,
Oh my gosh, I got lost in it. I was thinking there's much more. And so this is just amazing to me. Now, you also I have another clip I want to show everybody, which is a little different approach. It's One Night from the Fairy Queen.
Yes, One Charming Night from the Fairy Queen.
And what is that? What is the Fairy Queen?
So the Fairy Queen is an opera by Henry Purcell. So it's an English opera, and it's just a full of fantastical tales, and my character there is Secrecy, and he's talking about how secrecy makes romance a little bit more spicy and fun.
Yes, like Romeo and Juliet.
Absolutely.
All right, let's see this clip of you singing.
One charming night gives more delight than a hundred lucky days. One charming night gives more delight than a hundred lucky days.
Ah, amazing. And I like it. It's different because you're singing in English.
Yes.
And that's great for everybody. But, tell us about your other passion. You're also a photographer.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So when I was in high school, I started taking self-portraits, conceptual self-portraits. And so I would just think of a concept, get a costume ready, go out into the woods and set up a tripod and start snapping some pictures. And it's just, it's always been a way for me to express myself and to mark different seasons in my life. And it's just a joy to do.
Great hobby.
Yes.
And so when people go to your website,
Yes.
then that is a way for them to see more photos,
Absolutely.
right, on display, which is great. That'll be fun for
Yes.
everybody. And you're going to be singing, I understand, in Europe. Tell us very quickly about it, because then I want to get to a big performance you're going to do live.
Absolutely,
right here.
absolutely.
You're gonna
So I will be doing some French Baroque performances with a group called Les Affleurissants, which is a group that's been in France for 30 years now, reviving these treasures from French Baroque opera that have been stored in the libraries in Versailles. And I am so thrilled to be singing some roles traditionally written for female voices. You said briefly.
Yes, briefly. So, because we want to get to what you're going to do live. And let me just now, and you can translate for everybody, all right. The title is Hombre My Fou from Handel.
That's right.
Is that
That's right. Yes.
And tell us what it's about very quickly.
So, King Xerxes is the king of Persia, and it's a really hot day. And he goes outside and he's like, oh, it's so hot. But then he sees this plantain tree. He's like, and that tree gives him shade. And so he's thinking, thank you so much for giving me the most beautiful shade that I could have ever experienced on a day of all the trees in the world. You're the best tree.
It's like talking to the trees.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love it. All right, well, we're going to break away. We have to show everybody a live performance. Matheus, Coura. Matheus, you were terrific.
Thank you so much.
And I can't wait to hear you again soon. I love your costume, and we have to tell the other audience that, of course, the jacket is here. You have gorgeous clothes. I love that look. Maybe this will become the new fashion.
I hope so.
Yes.
Bring back Rococo.
One
Yes.
more thing. You're going to be at Vico Cavone in
That's
October
right.
on a Monday. So
Yes.
put that on your website.
Yes.
And then people can follow that. Okay, on Monday, October 9th.
Absolutely.
All right. I want to thank everybody for being on the show. Michelle, thank you so much.
Thank
We have
you.
so much to talk about. And Matheus, wonderful trip to Europe. And take me with you.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it's
We're
so
going
much
on
fun.
tour.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
going any tour. And thank you out there for watching. If you want to be on Spotlight, please get in touch with Kathy Holly. Just go to kathyholly.com. I would love to have you on the show. Has it been fun?
It's been
Okay.
great.
Everybody
delight.
say goodbye.
Goodbye,
Be sure.
everyone.
Oh, and parting words. Everybody support live music. Don't forget. And
Go to
PCT. And don't forget PCT. We are on Pacific Coast TV. I want to thank the crew and thank everybody. Thank you so much. Good night, everybody.
Hey mambo, no more mozzarella. Hey mambo, mambo Italiano. Try an enchilada with the fish bacalao. Then hey Pumba, I love how you dance a rumba. Take some advice, paisano. Learn how to mambo. If you're gonna be a square, you ain't gonna go nowhere. Hey mambo, mambo Italiano. Hey mambo, mambo Italiano. Go, go, go. Shake it like a Giovanni. Hello, kiss the teacher, you get the happy feet so high. Shake it, baby, shake it, 'cause I love it when you take me.